In case you haven't noticed, RVs and smaller camping trailers are all popping up and popping out with fabric expandable spaces. And why not? It doesn't change the unit's footprint, but it sure can give you a lot of additional space. We've been noticing this outgrowth of space for the past few years and recorded a few examples of some we found interesting. Some of these expandables may be something you can add to your current trailer for some valuable extra space. Then, biking is a growing popular activity for many RVers, but getting the right bike rack for your trailer, and more specifically how to safely mount it, could be a problem. Our own Michelle Fontaine just recently ran into this problem, and fortunately she had someone that engineered and fabricated a super safe way to mount the rack and improve the trailer at the same time. Later, with over 60% of RVers bringing their pets along with them, the fact is that many of our pets are getting older, which means those things they liked to do years ago may not be possible now. This week, Dr. Fitz explains to us how we should care for and things to look for with our older fur babies when camping. Like humans, as we age, our mind says, go for it, but our body knows better. These stories and more on this week's RVing Today TV. Closed and Spanish captioning, where available, is sponsored by Forest River. Follow the river. Today's RV designers are finding some creative ways to give us more living space in our RVs, and how they're achieving that is what's interesting. In some cases, they're expanding up or expanding out, and occasionally adding a room where none existed before, and they're doing this with a centuries-old material, canvas. Now, this is not the canvas our forefathers used under covered wagons and tents, but lighter, stronger canvas. And in some cases, the material being used isn't even canvas, but high-tech vinyl and nylon fabrics. While attending this past RV industry open house, we couldn't help but notice all of these canvas additions. So we decided to take a closer look at what some of these companies are offering now. Currently, most of these canvas extensions and add-ons are being used on smaller camping and travel trailers, along with a few Class B motorhomes. But larger trailers and toy haulers are expanding up and out also, especially on the rear tailgate decks, with some nice enclosed screened-in additions. A lot of this modern creativity and engineering goes beyond the actual addition itself. If you look closely at this 4-room extension on the back of this Cyclone toy hauler, you'll notice there are no metal corner or roof poles. Rather than metal framework, these additions are supported by inflatable tubes, which make the whole unit lighter and easier to set up and take down. Where and how they add this extra sleeping space, I guess, is up to the imagination of the designer, and no more is this evident than on these next two examples. First is the Forest River Novo, with its added nest, as they call it. It's a complete enclosed tent that sits on top of the roof of the Novo and adds extra sleeping area beyond the normal interior space. And you can bet the kids will love this. On the same note, we found the same type standalone tent enclosure even mounted on the roof of a Jeep. So, as we were saying, canvas additions are only limited to the creative minds of designers and engineers. Like we were saying earlier, some ways of adding additional space can be as simple as a pop-up roof that gives you a few more inches of headroom. 2, a pop-up roof that can not only increase headroom, but also add additional sleeping space, like we see on this Heimer Class B motorhome. So, how creative and extreme can canvas additions go? Let's check in with Jeff Johnston, who seems to have found one trailer manufacturer that lets you decide how many additional rooms you want to add.
For a somewhat different camping experience, if you're going to go off-road, get into some really rugged places and take it all with you in comfort, there's an Expedition trailer. This is some Crux Expedition trailers. This is the model 1610. And what you see here is the way it goes down the road. Everything is all packaged together. All the cabinets and so forth contain all of the goodies for the trailer. Now when you get to the site, it unfolds in a number of different ways. If you're going to be spending a whole bunch of time, like several days, you can unfold the entire unit that folds out to 211 square feet approximately. If you're just going to be overnighting, you do stage one, which is more or less the top sleeping tent that opens up on top and a little annex on the back. And then if you're going to be spending a little more time or you want to expand a little bit more, you can add the side awning on the side and maybe one of the little rooms. And if you're going to be spending several days, you do the entire suite of rooms. That gives you the trailer with the sleeping space up on top, a large tent space on the side, a little annex on the end that lets you have a place to put, say, a portable shower or a toilet or something like that. And there's a space on the back that has room for, say, a couple of cots if you're going to have guests coming sleeping with you. And this unit is designed strictly for heavy duty use. Dual independent suspension axles, super heavy duty hitch assembly, the frame and all, it's all galvanized or otherwise treated for rust resistance. This is really a unit that is unlike most of the tent trailers that you'll see out there. It takes a few more minutes to set up, but like anything else, once you've done it a couple of times, a unit like this Crux Expedition trailer can provide a type of comfort and convenience and livability out on the most rugged trails you can imagine. It's a little different, and it's meant to be.
Well, as you can see, we weren't kidding when we said when it comes to RV canvas extensions, things are popping out all over. When Thetford launched AquaChem, it didn't take long before it became the #1 selling holding tank treatment for over 50 years. Until now. Meet AquaMax, Thetford's new generation of holding tank products that works even better and are also campground friendly and environmentally safe. Looks like a new #1 is taking over. For more information, visit thetford.com. Want more RVing today? Then visit rvingtoday.tv. Besides our weekly show and extended segments, you'll find additional stories and videos along with insightful information on what's new and what's happening around the world in RVing. From luxury RVs to unique camper vans, and from RVing with pets to RVing with kids. You'll find it all and more in rvingtoday.tv.
Welcome. I'm Michelle Fontaine for RVing Today. Several months ago, I purchased an e-bike and I love it, so it has to come cross-country with me. We considered several options, and the most logical one was putting a hitch receiver on the back of the RV. And my friend, Ray LeCain, graciously offered to do this modification for me. So here's Ray with today's story.
Well, looking at the original setup, evaluating it, whether it was going to be strong enough just to put a hitch receiver on the existing bumper, would it be heavy enough? Would it provide enough safety? And after evaluating it, we decided no, it needed to be replaced with a heavier wall 4x4 bumper, as well as the 2x4s right here, one in each side and only a foot long. Increase the wall thickness by 33% on this and as well as this to get that strength that I felt we needed. Doing a project like this, can we improve on the existing setup somehow, some way through location? And that's what we decided. We said, we're gonna have this bumper off, let's pull it out 2 more inches. Provide 2 more inches of here to here. Prior to this, it was set back almost flush with the back of the rig. So we pulled it out 2 inches, and that's considerable. We also added 2 inches to each end. It used to be right here it would end. We added 2 inches, gives you a little bit more protection on your corners. So we incorporated that improvement. Still got a nice little gap between the ladder and the bumper, so everything looks good. In addition to the heavier wall on the material, we added another cross member about 14 inches under here, another cross member across, because we want the hitch to attach at 2 points, not a single point, not good. So we got a 2-point attachment via welding here and back in here. So that's going to give you your good strength. There's a lot of activity back here going down some of these roads. Your assembly is trying to rock back and forth in every direction, and that puts a lot of stress on whatever it's holding it. One of the improvements we incorporated, only to find out at the very end it was not going to work on this bicycle rack, on this e-bike rack, and that is because we don't want anybody to tow a vehicle with this or another trailer. It's not what it was intended for. So we put a vertical pinhole in here that would prevent anybody from throwing a regular receiver in there and a horizontal pin and hooking up to something that's way too heavy for this system. But as we got to the end and we're pretty happy about the way everything came out, then we got to looking at this and how this has a draw-tight system here. You screw that in and it tightens up any play that it has. It's a good idea. It works well. Only problem with us is it interferes with the pin going down in. It's designed for a pin that goes side to side. So, good idea. Can work in some accessory hitches, but this one, vertical pin's not going to work. That's why we got both in there. So that was one of the improvements that we still think it's a good idea, safety-wise. So we're back. We're going to talk about removing the existing bumper. In a day like today, windy, dry, Arizona, big shocker there. Not a good day to be cutting outside with a torch or making sparks. So we did this in a garage, and we were good. First thing we do on removal is we get our fire extinguisher ready. We get a garden hose, good pressure, ready to go, set aside, in place. Don't want a fire. Because we're cutting and we're grinding up under here and sparks are going. Also, equally as important, you shut your propane tanks off. Probably already have that done, but make sure they're shut off. And bleed the line. Because there is a line, the remote line comes to the back that you actually have to move out of the way to cut and weld. So, got to get that propane system down. Also, to gain access, there's 5 welds from this piece to the frames. Five small welds, factory welds. And to gain good access, we had to remove the 5/16 self-tappers from the liner right here to get good, be able to get at the welds we need to cut. Lots of room, helps out. All right, so with all that removed, we get under there, we put jack stands on both sides to support it. Get under there with a 4.5-inch grinder, and smaller grinder, and chisels, and we got it out. Not without a lot of work. It finally come out, we got her out.
From off-the-road adventure camping to luxurious full-time RVing and everything in between, Forest River has the RV to fit your needs, budget, and outdoor lifestyle. To see our full line of trailers and motorhomes, visit forestriverinc.com. Forest River. Begin the journey. At Norcoal, we realize that some of your favorite RV destinations are off the grid. And Norco refrigerators are uniquely designed with that RV experience in mind. We call it Freedom Unplugged. To learn more about our Norco RV refrigerator line or to find a dealer near you, visit our website at norco.com.
Failed to mention, with that cross member, we put it in place with the idea that it's right under the black tank. And we cannot interfere with getting access to the black tank. So we made that cross member removable. It actually bolts on both sides. It bolts with a good grade 8 bolt, half-inch grade 8 bolt. So it's removable if you need to gain access to the black tank. So we have it removed. We cleaned up the frame rails where the new one's going to attach. We got the stabilizers that we took off, and we need to get them as close as we can to the original position. So that's kind of a fit and go as you assemble. So with the underneath prepped, ready to go for the new one to go in, the assembly that we put together, how it's made, how the hitch receiver actually fits into the 4x4. It looks good. Gives you good welding all the way around it. So we got it all tacked together, very lightly tacked together. The arms, the 4x4, the cross member that I was talking about is bolted to each end. You can see it there. So now we're going to roll it under the rig and jack it up and fit it. And if it looks good, we'll put some primer and paint on some certain points that we're not going to be able to get at later. And we're going to remove it, finish welding it up, and get it back under there. So with the bumper securely in place with good welds running the entire length of this piece here, which only runs 12 inches, the way it fits perfectly. And now we're looking at the stabilizers. Unfortunately, I don't know if you can tell by the pictures, but the stabilizers actually clamped under the cross member. One leg of the stabilizer clamped under the cross member, which was like, yes, because that's a heavy gauge cross member. It just supplies so much more strength to the original system. So this system is actually, the stabilizer is stronger than original. I know that with certainty. So I was really happy. They're about 2 inches off of where they originally were, but there's no interference. They work fine, and they're stronger. So we're really happy about that part of it. Big question is weight. Always sensitive of weight. Spending weight on safety and things like that is a good value versus adding weight for just a comfort feature that you could do without. Weight for safety is a no-brainer for me. So we took off 50 pounds and we added 98 pounds. So it's a net gain of almost 50 pounds, 7 gallons of water, 6.5, 7 gallons of water, the equivalent of. But you're getting more protection because of the setback. You're getting better protection for your corners, and you can haul 2 e-bikes on that rack with no problem whatsoever. Relocation of the spare tire is the second modification. We no longer want it on the back. So she could carry it in the back of her truck, or we can figure out where to put it. So we looked at it, evaluated, and tried to come up with clever ideas, practical ways of doing it. And her Tacoma, her spare tire mounts right here in the back, like a lot of pickup trucks do, I think most do. And you gain access by taking the tool supplied by Toyota in through somewhere down here is an insert, and you lower your tire. Well, that device that lowers the tire is a easily obtainable replacement part, not only from Toyota, but from other places. And they're not that expensive, and they work really slick. So we're gonna get one of those, brand new, and we're gonna mount it under here. And she'll be able to use the same tool for her truck as her tire. But first she's gonna try to call the tire people to come save her, but sometimes that's not going to happen. We're going to need to install a couple of more cross members, and they're probably going to be on the scale of angle iron 1.5" by 1/8 inch. Give you an idea of what kind of material we're talking about. Not big stuff. Over the top, and that's where that device I was telling you about is going to mount. That's when it actually lowers and raises the tire. It's going to mount on those two cross members, and she'll gain access from probably right under here. And so it'll all be the same. Yeah, it's going to be about 50 extra pounds. So actually that's going to offset the 50 you gain back there. And it's going to transfer it here. So that's almost going to even out, but it's going to be a little bit more weight here because your center, your wheelbase center is not halfway down the rig. It's more towards the back. So 50 pounds back there would be the equivalent of maybe 40 pounds here because of the location of the axle, weight distribution. So, but we're down to 10, 20 pounds difference, so move some pots and pans around.
Thanks so much, Ray. Well, the bike is in place and covered with a heavy-duty bike cover. This is Michelle Fontaine of RVing Today, wishing you safe travels, and maybe I'll see you on the road.
Want more RVing Today? Then visit rvingtoday.tv. Besides our weekly show and extended segments, you'll find additional stories and videos along with insightful information on what's new and what's happening around the world in RVing. From luxury RVs to unique camper vans, and from RVing with pets to RVing with kids. You'll find it all and more in rvingtoday.tv. When Thetford launched AquaChem, it didn't take long before it became the #1 selling holding tank treatment for over 50 years. Until now. Meet AquaMax, Thetford's new generation of holding tank products that works even better and are also campground friendly and environmentally safe. Looks like a new #1 is taking over. For more information, visit thetford.com.
Welcome to Rollin' on TV's Paws on Board. I'm Dr. Fitz, and this is Champ. If you have a special dog that you have traveled with for years, it may be time to take some extra precautions on your trip. Older dogs can have a more difficult time traveling, but when done right, they can have just as much fun as they used to. A main consideration for older dogs traveling in an RV is the stairs. Many older dogs suffer from arthritis or weak back legs and may have difficulty on the narrow steps. Prepare for this by bringing along a ramp or investing in wider steps for your RV. Some pet-friendly RVs, like this one, may come standard with wide steps to make getting in and out easier for everyone. The flooring in the RV may also play a role in your pet's comfort. Vinyl-type flooring can be helpful for easy cleanup of pet messes, but may be too slippery for arthritic pets. You could opt for a carpet interior or consider small rugs placed where your pet spends the most time. Some owners have also found rubber boots or even little grippy socks to be helpful for their pet to have more grip on the floor. If your pet has been diagnosed with arthritis, consider bringing along pain medication for the trip. Your dog may want to run and play like normal, even if his body can't always keep up. Pain medication can be helpful to keep your friend comfortable and happy after a long day of walking or swimming. If your pet is already on pain medication, make sure to bring this along with you or get a refill prior to traveling. Finally, bring along items to help keep your pet cool, such as a towel, extra water, and even a portable fan. Make sure that the AC in your RV is working prior to your trip as well. Older pets may have difficulty cooling themselves off as compared to younger dogs. Overall, keep in mind that your pet is older and may not be able to do as much as he used to. The long hikes and days at the beach might be replaced with slow walks and nap time at the campground. Either way, take your friend along for the ride and enjoy having Paws on board. Tune in next time for more pet health information. I'm Dr. Fitz. This is Champ. Thanks for watching Paws on Board.
You can watch the full uncut version of many of these stories along with other additional videos, stories, and news on our website at rvingtoday.tv. This has been another fun production.